Recorded at 2023's Equip and HNA show in Louisville, Kentucky. Here's your host, TV personality and hardscapes contractor, Matt Blashaw.
Awesome, man. Okay, so get your name, where you're from, name of your company, and your job title.
Cool. My name is Matt Simpson. I am from Northern Virginia, about 40 minutes west of D.C. I'm a managing partner of Amazing Outdoors. So we're a backyard, basically, design-build company, anything outdoor living related. We take care of it.
Hardscape, softscape, pools?
All of it. Yep, pools.
Pools. Yeah, I was just talking to another guy. They're like, I got into it. I became a pool builder.
Yeah.
Because my pool builders were horrible.
Yeah. That industry as a whole, my background was maintenance, and then we kind of got into the hardscapes, and then kind of graduated from there into swimming pools 2018. So we were pre-COVID, at least. We kind of, be able to learn some stuff pre-COVID, and then things just went crazy.
Yeah.
And it was, that was a roller coaster ride for sure.
Everybody wants a pool all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it.
And they want it fast.
Yeah, they want it,
as fast as you can do it. You weren't selling the project, you were selling an install date.
Yeah. Well, and my guys were giving me like 8 months. And then I saw one done. I was like, this should take a couple months.
Yeah.
It's really not, as long as you got guys there, it's not that hard.
It was, we, going back to the software we were talking about earlier, that we launched that during COVID.
Oh, wow.
So we launched it March 1st, right before busy season, with a ton of work, and it was
a disaster.
It was
yeah.
That's probably being light. I mean, that's,
well, and we can go into it. I know they're trying to bring more tech into our industry, right? It's great, but there's some ramp up time, right? And there's
a lot of it.
There's some training, and for me, who's attention deficit, that gets too much. Yeah, that gets too much information. I shut down, where I'm like, this is too much for me.
Where's the paper?
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, I started using smart sheets for my estimating, right?
Yeah.
So then I have, fixed costs, just putting in the quantities.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a lot easier because that's one of the hardest parts that I have. I don't know for you, is estimates.
It's definitely tough. I think with a lot of the stuff we do, it's so custom. It's gotten to the point where we, some of the stuff, it's hard to just throw a number. I mean, you really throwing a dart at the wall and hoping you hit the right spot. With that, we've kind of transitioned with some clients into doing more of a cost plus model.
Oh,
some
man.
shared profit stuff.
Interesting.
And we're more of a partner. It creates more of a partnership in the project versus, we're trying to drive the price down as much as we can to make as much profit. Let's just start the relationship the right way, and it usually leads to a lot better experience for the customer.
Yeah, and it's margin. I have to boost my margin up on these jobs because I'm like you. I do design, build, exterior, and so I'm doing stuff like cantilevered pergolas.
Yeah,
and stuff that I want it to be really cool, but it's hard for me to put a labor cost on that because I just don't know how long it's going to take. And you can end up getting killed on it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The definition of custom, something that's never been done before.
Yeah,
so,
right?
How are you supposed to know what that's going to cost?
You don't know. And so tell me about that client expectation, right? I like the word allowance that's in my contract because I can say, hey, so this is the allowance that we have. Yeah. How do you go back to that client if you've gone over budget, or do you just eat it?
No, change orders.
Okay.
So if we've gone over budget on something that's fixed price, that's a very tough conversation. But if it's something where we had a budget in place, let's say pool tile, for example, it's a very common one in our line of work. If we're over that square footage allowance, we'll send them a change order. Mm-hmm. And usually, we try not to get them too bad. At the end of the day, unless it's something crazy, the labor is still the same. So put a little markup on it, send them a change order, and they understand. I mean, it was in the contract when we started. So
right, and you got to make money.
Absolutely.
And I've shown now, if a client says, hey, I want to see your receipts, I don't want to work that guy.
No.
Right, because they're just going to nickel and dime you for everything. And in fact, I have a really robust, 200-line estimate.
Yeah.
And I break it down to like 5, right?
That's exactly how ours is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because why not? Because they're going to price shop you. And they're going to look through every line. Well, why does that cost so much? Why does that cost so much?
And then you got the terms and conditions, And during COVID, it's funny. We had a client the other day. He's like, I can tell when I read these terms and conditions, this is something that some customer along the line has gotten you for here and there, I had a guy one day shoving deck boards through his egress window into his basement because he was trying to, take the extra material.
Are you kidding me?
And the job wasn't even done. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Are you kidding me? Yeah, and I mean, it's stuff like that in the contract. That's actually really something good to hit on.
Yeah.
Is, boy, that contract, your warranty information, right? That needs to be like there's a lot of people don't even run on contracts.
Right.
Is that a mistake?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think especially with the scale of work we do. Now, if you're out there laying mulch, which we do that as well, but if you're out there just doing a simple mulch job for Miss Smith, it's probably not worth the time to draft up a 8-page contract over that mulch job. But I do believe with the line of, the stuff we do, it's an absolute necessity.
Yeah. No.
And I think it's something that you need to have a legal team draft.
Absolutely. And as you learn and as you make mistakes, right? So those mistakes will go into your contract.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
and that's what I was getting at. We have a whole page on the back that you have to initial, and it's like, extra material belongs to us.
Yeah.
All this stuff. And, it's just stuff we've learned.
You got to have it, man. Set the expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So what are the toughest challenges that you've been facing in your business?
I would say there's a few. I would say that one of the big ones is client expectation. The industry, as we touched on a minute ago, with what we do with swimming pools and the whole outdoor living experience, during COVID, it became something that people wanted very quickly. So, and I think the Amazon's behind a lot of that, because if you want a case of water, you can go on Amazon, hit order now, and it's on your doorstep in 4 hours. So
exactly. Yeah, which is amazing.
There's the whole society's kind of shifted towards now, and when you're doing a custom project, nothing about that's fast. I do think that's probably one of the biggest. On our side, we could definitely educate them probably a little bit more, but at the end of the day, they want it fast and they want it now, and they want it at the cheapest price. So those are probably some of the big things. Labor, as always. We've got a really great group of guys that we utilize the H-2B program.
What is that?
Visas. So basically, a lot of our guys are on temporary visas. They come up around March or April and go back November, December timeframe. So we don't have to carry them through the winter when work is normally slower. So that helps bridge the labor gap and the problem and cover the issues that we've got there. But with any custom project, you're going to use subcontractors, and those guys it's fierce. I mean,
oh yeah,
we've got some great subs, and a lot of the guys, they do great work, but they're glorified employees, basically. They have their own tools, but they still need to be paid every Friday.
Every Friday. No, they want to be paid when they're done. The last screw goes in, and they're like, "Where's my money?"
Yeah. The paint's still drying, and they're at your office. It's like
staring at you, tapping your feet, like, "So when am I getting done?" Yeah.
And then they've kind of got you over the barrel because you need them on Monday. It's
you got to pay them.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to come back to your job.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You want to be paid.
But it's definitely. I think that's another big thing that we kind of struggle with. That we operate a well-run company, and then we deal with subcontractors that they're just hard to work with sometimes.
Yeah.
And I struggle because I was there at one point too, a small guy with just a truck. I needed my check on Friday or whatever.
Yeah.
The minute I finished the job, but I think that's one thing that's kind of painful when it comes to operations.
Well, and that's one thing with client expectations. Now, I run 4 guys, right? I'm on the same visa program.
Okay.
Right? Those guys go back. I tell them to go back. They want to work all the way through the winter. I'm like, listen, just
government's not going to like you.
Exactly. Yeah. December, January, you got to go back.
Right.
But I tell my client, hey, listen, I have subs that I work with.
Yeah.
And I work with these guys specifically because they do a good job.
That's right.
We may be waiting for them.
Yeah.
For whatever it is. Like, I can't control them. My guys, they'll be in there working.
Yep. We can give you a schedule for them, but it's very hard to nail a schedule for subs that are also working for 10 other contractors in the area. And so I think transparency is key. And that's one thing we learned during COVID too. We were going so fast that some of our communication definitely struggled. We had more jobs going on than we should have.
Yep.
And
big mistake.
Yeah. Materials were hard to get, so things were being left open, and communication would have fixed a lot of those issues we ran into. But hey, we're on the other side of it now and learned a lot of lessons. So
I tell my guys, I don't care if you make mistakes, just you better learn from them.
Yeah.
Because then it's worth it.
Or and be honest with me about them too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing worse than finding out on your own.
Oh man, yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Material shortages too. And I know you work with SiteOne. I work with SiteOne.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right.
Great company.
Great company. And I love what they do in terms of giving you the knowledge, right? Not only, they have everything that you could ever want in terms of like landscaping, hardscaping, softscape.
Yep.
But they're knowledgeable too.
They are.
Yeah.
They have some great staff, that's for sure. And I think what they're doing for the industry is solid. I mean, as you could probably, what part of the country are you from?
I'm in Kansas City now. I'm from California, but now I'm in KC.
Yeah. So I don't know what KC's like, but around us, it's a lot of mom and pop shops that have kind of gotten to where they've got 2 or 3 branches and this and that. What I've found with SiteOne is they can, even if it's an off-the-wall material, they can always find a way to get it for you. Even if they have to import it from somewhere overseas or whatever that looks like, they're going to go out of their way to make it happen. Whereas, a lot of the mom and pop shops just don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the purchasing teams and stuff to make those oddball materials show up to job sites. So
exactly, yeah, and the prices are always good.
Yeah.
But what I love is that even though it's not mom and pop, I work with the same guy.
Yeah,
right? I do Store 45, Dylan.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Calls me, checks in on me. So I feel like I have that really, that communication that I would have in a smaller store, but with a company that's
Much
just
bigger, yeah.
much bigger, right? And just it's for me, I don't even. I just walked. I'm like, oh, I'm going to SiteOne. Yeah. There's no way around it.
It's like your wife going to Target.
Exactly. All right. So tell me about our trends in our industry. What are you seeing? What do you like? Outdoor living, heaters. I'm doing a lot of like partitions and like sliders for covered patios, right?
Yeah.
So people want to use it all year round.
That's a loaded question. With us, I think a big trend now is we have been getting into some like smaller pools. So spools, yeah. The plunge pools, the cocktail pools. I think that's kind of a big trend that's coming up. A lot of people are realizing like, oh, my buddy, he has a 20 by 40. Everybody stands in one corner of the pool when we have a pool party. So I think people are starting to invest more in the space around the swimming pool versus the body of water itself. I think that's a big trend. When it comes to materials, I mean, I feel like porcelain's kind of making a charge.
Oh, yeah.
Patio stuff.
Yeah.
It's not as slick once, it's cool temperatures.
Yeah, the printing technology is pretty.
Really, the cost is not bad at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's making a big charge. And then on the structure side, I mean, and this has kind of always been a thing, but there's really been a big push for heaters. Like you had mentioned, people are trying to heat the space because they want to use it year round. So we've been doing a lot of that, and yeah, I mean, I think that's
awesome.
Covers it.
Yeah, I did the heaters are like 6,000 watts.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Nice and toasty.
Yeah, baby. It's awesome. All right, so tell me, so what are some of the misconceptions you hear about our industry from people?
I think that a lot of people look at the landscaping industry and construction in general, and they're like, look at these hillbillies. They don't realize that a lot of the guys, I mean, my business partner, he's got a PhD in industrial psychology. Like, he's not just a hillbilly with a truck. I mean,
big brain on Brad.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I think that's the biggest misconception is that a lot of our customers kind of, and customers in general, probably nationwide, talk down to their landscape contractors and think that they're just some guy in a hillbilly in a truck, and that's probably one of the biggest we see. What do you see in Kansas City?
Well, I mean, and that's important. No, I'm going to touch on that because if you're a sub and you're smoking or you're wearing a tank top, you're done.
Yeah.
Instant. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right. When you come onto my job site, you are carrying yourself in a way that's professional. You look professional. My guys get dressed, right? I get all the clothes on them. I want them to look good.
Right.
Because that is a misconception. They're going to see some guy in a beat up truck with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. That's it's just bad on our industry.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's and now during COVID, I think a lot of that stuff happened a little more. The demand was up. We had to get subs out there to get projects done, and I think that we kind of probably slipped a little bit on that and allowing those people on job sites. But I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Look good, feel good.
Look good, feel good. Exactly. Yeah. And it's important, especially that referral, right? Those people are your best advertisement.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why you need to concentrate on them. You can advertise on Facebook and all this stuff all you want, but that referral is going to get you millions of dollars down the road.
Absolutely.
If you are taking care of them and you keep a clean job site at the end of the day,
Right.
power wash, blow, right?
Yep.
Stuff isn't hanging around,
Yeah.
like making sure everything is nice and safe and tidy.
Absolutely.
It shows that it's a reflection on you.
We were just talking about that, actually. One of my other guys is here with me, about getting into more of the job site trailers and keeping tools on site. Theft is obviously an issue always, everywhere around the country, it seems, and getting more into the job site trailers just to help clean up the job sites, keep a tidier appearance, because nothing's worse than, even though it's an active construction site, they've got their friends over on the weekend and there's chop saws laying here and there, whatever. It just needs to be cleaned up.
Spend money on them, because I have 4 of them.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
I got the one that has a tilt up with the overhang on
nice.
it.
Yeah.
Dude, it is so efficient.
Yeah.
Because the guys show up, they open up, they're ready to go to work.
Everything's there.
Yep.
Now, do your guys commute direct to the job site or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about work trucks.
Nope, not at all. Nope.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and I just have one work truck that delivers them.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? Less, it's just,
Yeah, it's interesting.
it's
I
ways
like
of
that.
going. And
That
just
is.
make sure they're theft proof. Like I put boots
Yeah.
on them and straps and, making sure they're theft proof.
Right.
But man,
and your clients aren't in there when they need a drill for a weekend project.
No.
They lock those puppets.
No, exactly. Right. And it's a great way of advertising. Put your logo on it.
Oh, yeah.
Put your
Rolling
logo
billboard.
on it. Yeah. What advice would you give to a young kid out there that wants to get into the outdoor space, wants to become a contractor?
That was me. So, backing up, I guess 2 things would be relationships. So find the right people at the beginning, find the right dealers. I've known Brian, my rep, for a long time. So find the right guys that are going to stand behind you and help you through thick and thin, and they're going to be right there. And then my advice to my younger self would have been to go slower. It was a very fast growth trajectory that we kind of went through the past few years.
Saw the lights and you ran to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
Now I'm like, trying to just pump the brakes a little bit. So I think that would be the big thing. And, I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea to start off by working for someone else. Learn on their dime. I did everything. Right out of high school, I started this company, and I kind of taught myself. So all of the expensive, lessons that I had to learn were on my dime and instead of someone else's. So I think that's a good way, work for someone local, figure out the ropes and tell them too what your long-term goals are. Like, look, I plan on starting my own shop one day, but I highly respect you guys and I want to kind of learn the ropes. And I think that would probably be the biggest piece of advice. And then just pick the right partners.
who you work with. So
Vendors,
Yeah.
subcontractors, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just pick the right people.
I have a guy, my project manager. He was an engineer. He kind of started out slow.
Yeah.
And it took me. I spent a lot of time in him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm ramping him up. I'm getting him on the job. I'm starting to get him used to things. And it's been like 2.5 years, and it was slow and
Right.
it was painful, but he was showing up. He was loyal.
Yeah.
And he was ready to work.
Yeah.
Right. So he may not be perfect and be like the super,
Right out of the gate.
Right out of
You're
the gate.
getting him there. And I think
Exactly.
that's almost better because, like they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, really. And a lot of the construction industry as a whole is full of blue-collar guys that are kind of stuck in their ways. So trying to reshape them, remold them into something else is not an easy task.
No, it's like remolding a brick.
It doesn't work. And another thing, too, I think, when we went through this growth spurt, we had leads coming out of every crack. Business was not hard to find. And so we hired people to help sell that, contract that business. And all I can say is just vet those people out. Make sure they are what they advertise themselves to be. Because we've had some very expensive problems because of people we've hired that didn't necessarily know what they were doing as much as they said they did. So a little, don't always trust someone right away. Kind of dig a little deeper and check it out and see that they can really do what they advertise themselves to be capable of. And
Man, you're better than me because I won't hire a salesman because I need to be
that's
there.
what I did.
Yeah, it's because it's like, and I know it's coming and I need it, but they are your first point of contact. That is your overall representation of your company because they know nothing else.
Yeah.
And if they mess that up, it's done. It's everything.
We've been through a few of them. We had one long-term one, and I'm back to Bradley, who was walking around here somewhere, but he's done a great job. But he's an example of kind of training him from the ground up.
Yeah.
The guys that have come into the business that claim to have a lot of knowledge have actually been the worst ones for the company. So, been through it all.
Great advice.
Yeah.
How long you been doing it?
I started in 2013.
Nice.
I was going to go off to college. It wasn't really for me, and just took the family truck, started mowing grass, and then that evolved into patios, and then patios to pools, and full pool houses, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So
You make a good living. I can tell you love what you do.
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the most part.
Yeah. Well, no, there's days. There's days I want to
days.
jump off my truck and just be like, why am I doing this right now?
No, it's a good living, and it's fun. It's cool to see at the end of the day, from design to delivery, those projects come to life, and see the design you put on paper was actually exactly what you delivered, and to watch it come to life is fun, and working with people, working with clients. So
Awesome. I'm going to ask you one more question. This is not even on the script. What's your biggest failure you've ever had?
we're recording. So
Yeah.
I gotta sit to this one.
Yeah.
Biggest failure I've ever had.
Don't be shy. Because we never can talk about our failures because it just makes us seem weak. But
I would say honestly, what I touched on was letting go of sales. That was probably the biggest one, because even though the sales were still made, they just were not made at the right dollar amount. The job wasn't designed correctly, whatever it was. Allowing other people that I hadn't really double checked, their skill set and their true knowledge, I think allowing them to kind of sell at their own discretion was probably led to the biggest failure, because it's cost me over $1 million probably.
that's huge.
It is. It was, and we're still recovering from it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Well, yeah, it's your reputation. I mean,
Exactly.
Kind of smaller town.
And a lot of that's a very small town west of D.C., about 40 minutes, and it's definitely been that would be the biggest one.
Yeah.
And we're actually getting through it right now.
That's great.
But hey,
Yeah,
keep heading, hammering.
Yeah, that's what it is, and you can get through it.
Oh, yeah.
Right, you can get through it, but it just takes a tarnish. I always say, listen, I worked in the restaurant industry.
Okay.
All right, and so
That's one of the hardest industries.
Oh, it sucked. Yeah, I got myself through college. Like, oh my gosh, it was awful. But when they say a good meal, someone will tell a few friends about it.
Right.
A bad meal, they're going to tell 20
Tell
or 30.
everybody. Yeah.
Right? And so, boy, that one bad experience,
Oh, yeah.
if you let it happen, they'll just run down the road with it.
And I think when we realized that we were kind of, when this all started, we realized, okay, some of these jobs were not sold correctly, like this, that, and the other. We realized that it was going to be difficult to plow through all of this stuff and to come out on the other side with a great reputation. So we just went to our clients. We were honest. We said, look, you were sold X, Y, Z. X and Y are possible. Z is not. Like, this is going to be a interesting ride, but we're going to get through this together.
That's awesome.
And we're going to communicate with you. And I feel for the most part, we've done that. Probably, maybe some people would say otherwise. Whatever. But we've tried our best. And here we are. We're still kicking, and a lot of lessons learned.
And you're successful.
Yeah.
Awesome,
It's
man.
been good.
Thanks for sharing your story, brother.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to Confessions of the Craft. Ensure you never miss an episode by subscribing to the podcast so you can be the first to hear new episodes and discover previous ones. Follow SiteOne on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn for the latest trends and industry updates.